that, I think the next thing we have is Chrissy Lawrence, who's going to present to us on the Finance Academy.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak to you today. Again, my name is Chrissy Lawrence, and I'm a business teacher at Hamburg High School. I am also the secretary to the Hamburg Finance Academy Advisory Board. And joining me this evening is the Advisory Board Chairperson, Rick Campbell, and the Vice Chair, Mr. Tim Holscher, and they will have an opportunity to speak with you a little bit later in the presentation. Our purpose this evening is to give the school board an update on the Hamburg Finance Academy program, specifically our new status as a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. And before I do that, though, I felt because there are so many new school board members since 4 years ago when I first presented, I wanted to give all of you just a quick overview of the Hamburg Finance Academy program and what it's all about. We are modeled after the National Academy of Finance. You may hear neighboring districts talk about the National Academy of Finance. We are our own in-house Hamburg Finance Academy. We are closely modeled after NAP, but we are not affiliated with the NAP program. But we are a three-year program. It's a cohort, so students within the program travel throughout their Finance Academy courses together. Jill actually is a member of the Hamburg Finance Academy. Our current enrollment is about 75 students. Last year was very exciting. We graduated 27 students from our first cohort that worked its way through. This year we have about 20 seniors, and we have about 20 juniors, and we have about 37 sophomores. So the program really is growing at the high school. We have partnered with Meridia they built 4 years ago when the Finance Academy began a beautiful state-of-the-art credit union in the foyer of the high school. Hopefully all of you have had an opportunity to see that. But that credit union is 100% run by Finance Academy students. Many of the students, they're trained, they're in 10th grade or sophomore year, and they work as tellers, they serve as managers. Actually, Jill served as a manager as well. So she's a great representative on the board. And they get their internship credit through working in the credit union. So not only is it great for Finance Academy kids, but also just the general population of students within the building. It promotes a generation of savers. And then last but not least, the Career Pathways Consortium. I did want to mention that the Hamburg Finance Academy has received funding from Career Pathways, which is a program to promote CTE education within the high schools. So they have awarded the Hamburg Finance Academy for the past few years with some funding to help support our program. Regarding the courses, students have to make the decision whether they want to be a part of Finance Academy their freshman year. So they apply as freshmen. Their 10th grade year, they take a course called Banking and Credit, which is a half-a-year course. In 11th grade, they take accounting. Within their time throughout the Finance Academy, they do have to complete an internship. As I mentioned, some completed working in the credit union. Some do it outside the building at a different financial institution. And then their senior year, they take a course in the fall called College Success Skills. And in the spring, they'll take a course called Financial Planning. So that's the coursework, and we feel we have excellent curriculum within the course, but we feel what's really unique about the Finance Academy are the experiences, the real-world experiences that are brought to the Finance Academy by the advisory board members, and we'll hear about them a little bit later in the presentation. I just did want to take a minute, while I'm up here, almost done, to highlight the two last courses, the College Success Skills and the Financial Planning course. They are in red because they are known as advanced studies courses. And if you're not familiar with advanced studies, definitely, as school board members, I think it's really important that you understand this opportunity that we have in the schools for the kids. It's an alternative to AP for the kids to challenge themselves with the college level curriculum. It's a little different than AP, so I'm actually going to go through this slide, and every bullet is, I think, really important, so I'm going to go through them. It's an opportunity for high school students to enroll in a college course and receive college credit at a third of the cost. So we teach the course, and we offer this to everybody that's taking the course, and the students that would like to take it for college credit currently can do that. And we partnered with Erie Community College. So a free credit course at Erie Community College is about $600, and we offer the course for about $200 for our kids to take it. So it is a big cost savings. It's an advanced studies course. It's taken during the school day. It is identical to the ECC course as described in the college catalog. So every course we have has its equivalency with ECC. B for Hamburg is known as GS 111, which is the College Success Skills course at Erie Community College. So every course we offer is equivalent to an ECC course. The advanced studies courses are taught by high school teachers who are adjunct faculty members. So I went through the interview process at ECC, the application process, was hired in their job bank. Amanda Boland's also here from the business department. She's also in the job bank, as well as Sheila Sampson. So all of us business teachers are adjunct professors teaching the courses within the walls of Hamburg. The students get excited about this because they are real ECC students. They can go to ECC, they can get an ID card, they can use the facilities, the gym, the cafeteria, the library, the databases that they offer their students. So they are true Erie Community College students taking the course at Hamburg. A student earning a student earning a grade of a C or better may transfer the course. So where it differs from the AP is that there's no end of the course exam that they have to get a 4 or a 5 on. Their grade is their work for the course. So as long as they earn a C or better, the credit will transfer to most, put the word most in there, 2 or 4-year colleges, private or public. I have never, in the history that we've been offering this, and I know the other consortium that I'm a part of had a student be denied the credit. So, but I do have to put that word most in there instead of every college. And then what's nice about the for our counselors and for the business teachers is that everything is handled through ECC. The applying, the registration, the transcript requests, the grades, really everything's handled between the student and Erie Community College. So just wanted to provide that background for advanced studies for you. In addition to the 2 Finance Academy courses that we offer as advanced studies, we also offer a couple other courses within the business department. But I do also wanted to highlight that personal finance requirement that you're aware of, that's also an advanced studies opportunity. So now every student that takes that course has the opportunity to get it for college credit. Okay. At this time, I'm turning it over to the chairperson of our advisory board, Mr. Rick Campbell.
Okay, like Chris said, my name is Rick Campbell. I'm a certified financial planner. I work with tax advisors, and I've been on the board since its inception back in 2008. So, tell this personally, it's been a great experience for myself, as well as the kids. I've seen it grow. Back in 2008, we had about 20 members, from the community, business professionals, people within the school district, government officials, alumni, and so forth. It's roughly double now, where we have about 40 members right now. This is the first year I'm serving in this capacity as the chairperson, but really at the end of the day, what the goal ultimately was to do was, have the members, like myself, Tim, and a couple other board members, and an additional board member, kind of give the kids some real world experiences and interaction, and kind of be a conduit between what's going on in the business community within the school district. So I think we've done a good job of doing that. As I said, we basically doubled our membership over the 4 years, and got a lot of the goals out of the way already. So right now, this was kind of within the packets. It has a full and clear listing as far as each individual board member, as well as all the companies. This just kind of shows some of them. Obviously people are probably familiar with IRS, M&T Bank, Meridian, Lynn Dixon, HSBC. So we've got a very good representation from different areas within the business community. We feel it's not all in one single sector. It's not all banking or anything like that. So it's a very good representation from a bunch of different segments. As far as the logistics go, basically what we do is we have 3 official meetings every single school year. Typically they're in October, December, and May. We meet in the high school library. Typically the meetings start out with a networking event, where basically the kids who are within the academy, usually it's around 7:15, the kids will come to kind of introduce themselves, shake some hands. They actually make their own business cards, which I thought was kind of a neat, cool idea. And it's a way for them to kind of, I know I never had any sort of experience like that when I was in high school, and it's not easy, but it kind of gives them that real world experience to be able to maybe overcome some fears. So that's usually how it starts off. At 7:30, we get down to business, kind of provide updates as far as where we've been, where we're going, what we plan on doing within the academy. And then there's a few different subcommittees where typically we'll break out, and that's where a lot of our kind of the meat and potatoes gets accomplished. Right now, there's currently 3 board committees. There's our Marketing and Fund Development Committee, which basically what their goal and purpose is number 1, to try to solicit funds for the academy. Secondly, to try to market it, making sure that people within the community are aware of it. So that's kind of their main goal and purpose. Curriculum enrichment is, having people such as myself or the advisory board members overall, kind of giving some feedback to the teachers as far as real-world practical experiences, making sure that the coursework, is relevant and be as hands-on as much as possible. A new committee we just formed this year is our governance committee. Harold Johnson is the subcommittee chairperson for that. Where what we're trying to do is just, make the board more official, basically. We're establishing bylaws. I'm going to turn over to Tim in a minute. We just recently got approved, in the past few months anyways, a 501c3, which we feel is going to give us a great leg up and be able to allow us to get a lot more donations. Obviously, that makes it tax deductible for some of the corporate donations. And last but not least, previous committee had was the Financial Literacy Action Committee. Some of the board members here may remember we did end up getting a personal finance graduation requirement. Again, I can just speak for myself. I know when I was back in high school, we didn't have anything remotely close to this, and being in the industry myself, I can see people coming out of college, let alone high school, really don't have a good understanding just, as far as how basic, simple finances work, credit cards, things like that. So I think it's a great thing for the kids. The earlier we can try to instill this in them, the better. So, having said that, Chrissy's going to talk a little bit more just about, kind of some of the enrichment activities we have done at this point.
Just quickly, you can take a look. Just a couple of them I want to highlight. We have had advisory board members provide tours at their local bank branches in the village, which is great to be able to have the kids sit and meet with the manager and tour what a branch is like, the platform versus the teller, the drive-through. Great experiences. Bob actually organized a tour of the Larkin building where First Niagara is headquartered, and some additional companies he had talked to our Finance Academy students, so that was really a great experience as well. Some of the college partnerships we have, they provide workshops for our students. Our goal is to go to Chicago on the student's senior year to visit the Board of Trade in the Federal Reserve Building. Again, as Rick mentioned, our networking experience. And the scholarship donation is just something we want to highlight. As I mentioned, last year we had our first group graduating, and we wanted to provide scholarships to help with the cost of higher education. And without being a 501c3, we were able to, I think, collect almost $3,000 from advisory board and outside community sources to provide scholarships to the graduates last year. So we're excited about expanding that pool of money to provide additional scholarships for our students with the 501c3. Not going to take a lot of time to talk about the pictures, but I think it's always good to put some faces to the program and who we're impacting. So we have a good group of kids there. Okay.
They'd asked me to talk about 501c3, setting up 501c3. I'm a private CPA on Ernst & Young, 42 years of experience in doing this tax kind of work. And we have a great board, and what we have here is that the normal cost to do all these things is anywhere between $2,500 and $4,000 on a normal job. With all the people from the board who volunteered, our cost was only $950, which we got a grant for to cover because of all the volunteer hours that were involved here. So basically, to quickly go through this, the process, the 501c3 is a section of the Internal Revenue Code, and that allows you to be a charity to get donations that are tax deducted by the contributor. So basically here, what you're going to do is you're going to incorporate the entity under the New York State Not-for-Profit Corporation Law. After you are incorporated, you're going to go and request your 501c3 exempt status from the IRS in Form 1023. And we had such a great committee, and everybody was so much attention to detail. Normally, it takes the IRS 90 days to turn these things around. We submitted the application in 56 days. We had our application back saying you're a 501c3. Record. I've never seen that quickly turn around. The next thing you're going to do is, after you get your exemption letter, you're going to register with the New York State Attorney General and the various laws there. You're going to file other forms of New York State Corporation Tax Bureau to say we're a corporation, but you're not going to see any tax returns from us. Register with the sales tax people to say we don't have to pay sales tax down the road. And one of the most important things, every year we have annual filing requirements with the IRS and New York State, which again, as long as I'm on the board, I will take care of it. There is an annual requirement every year to file your 990 forms. Probably about a half a year ago, you probably saw articles in the paper about all the organizations didn't file their 990s. They lost their exempt status. We'll make sure we file those each year. That's why I come in with the 501c3 status.
Yes.
Oh, this is just a visual real quick of the board organization. The organizers for this particular corporation, the board officers, the board of directors, and the committees. Just a visual.
So just in summary, we had a quote up there, if you're working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed, the vision pulls you. That's from, obviously, the late Steve Jobs, great innovator, probably one of the greatest people within our generation. So this is, we just kind of want to summarize what our vision moving forward is. First, we're going to try to, given that 501c3, get some corporate donations in order to give some field experiences to our academy students. I know I went to St. Bonaventure College, we went to the Chicago Board of Trade. It was a great learning experience. If we can get that, at the high school level, I think that would be great. Any help or any cost we can help defray, even better. We're already in the process of developing a scholarship fund. We're able to, kind of utilize some of those funds last year towards some kids. We're going to continue to do that. We're in the process of setting up a Facebook account, so we're going to utilize social media to allow not only the academy kids, but also the different business professionals to have a network. We're going to try to grow and build additional relationships with the businesses and colleges, just to get even more community involvement. And then basically just bring innovative, unique programs to Hamburg to help enrich the curriculum. This isn't it's something that's continuously evolving. We're trying to make it better. Every single day, every meeting that we have, and any feedback we can get, we'll certainly take. And ensuring that our students, most importantly, when they graduate, they're going to be educated, with the personal finance, giving them a strong foundation, for success, both personally and professionally. So, that's kind of in summary. Here's what it's all about, is make sure that the kids are able to have those good experiences, and we just want to bring everything that we've done to this point, kind of bring it to what we're looking to do, and hopefully get your support even when we ever need it down the road. Any questions, comments?
I'd like to just, Amanda, if you could kind of raise your hand and step there. Amanda Boland is also from this department. Carol Johnson is on the board as well. Chrissy, I don't know if there's anybody else here from.
Mr. Adam.
Right. Thank you guys for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay, next I believe we have information on the school improvement goals and data from Boston.
Good evening and welcome to Boston Valley. I'm Paul Peacham, and I'll be presenting with Joe Schimento, our fourth grade teacher. You're probably wondering about the Christmas decorations around the room. Roz Dufresne's been working on the decorations for the Hamburg Winter Castle, the Hamburg, the Hamburg Holidays Winter Castle, and these will be a part of the countdown to Christmas starting on December 2nd on Buffalo Street across from the Palace Theater. So she did a great job, and the kids did a great job. It's a feather in their cap, so I know everyone's going to be looking forward to seeing her. For the last few months, staff at Boston Valley has been working on establishing their first school improvement plan. And I just thought this would be a great time to talk about what we've been doing, the work we've been doing as a staff to get this plan together. We started last January with the mission statement, and the mission statement was something that we felt was important to start with. The original mission statement that we had, the staff at Boston Valley was not present to create that. That was something that had been around a long time. And so in January, we started with a survey to the staff. We asked the staff what they felt was important, what we wanted to, what were our goals for students to learn, what we were going to do about that if they didn't learn that. We gathered that survey information. We brought parents in and our shared decision-making team started with the writing process. And we put together what I feel is a really great mission statement that we can use as we create our school improvement plan and really go through our day-to-day business. At Boston Valley, we're committed to children. We promote a positive learning environment that values individual growth. A strong collaborative relationship between the home, school, and community ensures the success of this mission and weaves into our school culture. Through a challenging curriculum and a variety of enriching opportunities, we inspire greatness and academic success while creating independent learners and leaders for life. So, again, that's guiding us. We have that posted in our hallway, faculty room, and it's at the bottom of our staff meeting agenda. So that's guiding us as we go through this process. The actual body of the school improvement plan was developed really started in the spring of last year as we looked at student achievement data from 2010 assessments and the assessments that we did here for ELA, our benchmark assessments, and our unit test for math. Well, we asked these questions: what do we do well and what do we need to improve? The spring 2011 assessments in mathematics, we just take a look at that, and what we try to do is compare ourselves with the other elementary schools in Hamburg and then the other elementary schools in the Erie One BOCES area. And the Boston Valley up there is the blue, and as you can see at third grade, we're a little bit high in the level 2s comparatively, and you know, we keep in mind that we're a small school. One student might equate to 2.5 percentage points or something like that. So we try to keep that in mind as we go through. We have to actually try to put in the number of students that's represented. Level 4, this cohort is a cohort that we've been watching closely, and we have a high number of level 2s here. Last year, our 5th grade students did phenomenally well. We exceeded the number of students who reached 3s and 4s, and really we decreased our level 2s, so we were very proud of how our students did at level 5. So that, using that information and more specific information that we gathered from our local assessments, we came up with our math goal, and Mr. Schmento is going to talk about that.
I serve on our school improvement team as well, and we were trying to find one skill that transcends the whole math curriculum, and also one that would be very easy to track, you know, progress monitor and data drive our efforts. And we came up with math facts as that one skill. And it's funny that they're dealing with college level finance courses, and we're talking with math facts, but you know, every CPA had to learn his math facts at one time in his life, so it's appropriate. And in order to accomplish that the math fact goal, we wanted to have measurable goals at each grade level. At level 4, we want kids to have addition and subtraction mastered by December, and subtraction or multiplication and division by the end of the school year. And we're on a good pace to achieve those goals. We assess them every week in class, and students track their own progress. They each have their own graph for each operation. So while they're tracking their own data, they're also getting some organic practice with graph skills. And then we review the progress. They check and see, you know, what fact family might be weak in, and then they focus their own energy on what they should be doing to improve. It culminates with celebrating success. We have posters in the hallway for addition aces and subtraction stars. And then our monthly assembly, we honor students for their achievements. And then for kids that are struggling with facts, that are looking like they may not be on pace to achieve our goals by December and June, we have the fast math software, which we have 60 licenses, and we have some kids, the ones that we look at the greatest in need, are using that software in the computer lab, and it's a good investment that you invest in. So Paul will talk about that.
Just real quick about the fast math software. It's designed for students in grades 2 through 5, and we have 60 licenses, like Mr. Schmento said. So we divided that up in 15 kids per grade level. It's a quick intervention And the way we have it set up is the kids take their backpacks and lunches down to the room in the morning, and they drop that off, check in with the teacher, and go to the computer lab. The computer lab's open. They come in. It's very independent, although Mrs. Littman is down there. They log on, they do their lesson, they do their game, and they log off. And that takes about 10 minutes if they're on pace. And we try to do that a minimum of 3 times per week. 4 is better. 5 would be great. FastMath software provides us with nice reports like this. This is a student in 5th grade right now, and the dark blue indicates the facts that he has achieved with fluency. The lighter blue is facts that are what they call focus facts. Those are the facts that they're practicing repeatedly. Intertwined with the focus facts are the fast facts, and they, as you can see, they kind of systematically bring the kids along. Here's another report, just kind of showing the number of facts with this child and how he's progressed throughout the year. He's made steady progress. That brings us to ELA, and again, we took a look at how we're doing with ELA. We're a level 3 from 2011. Level 4, again, this group we had concerns about, and we're honing in on those students who've reached the level 1 and 2, and looking to bring those kids up. And our students in level 5.
Just like the math goal or the ELA goal, we wanted to find one skill that transcends all the English language arts, and we arrived at writing as the goal we wanted to focus on. And in order to do that, each grade level established their own rubrics for looking at student work. And then we established a timetable for working on different types of genre. In 4th grade, we worked on personal narratives. This past up until just this week, our next genre will be persuasive essays. And the greatest thing about having a schedule, being that my 2 colleagues in 4th grade are also doing personal narratives, that we were able to have collaborative scoring using the same grading rubric. And we just met yesterday in Paul's office. There were 5 of us, passing papers around. And it's very informative to see other people's opinion on your students' work, and then to see other students' work from other classes, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, we had a blast, sharing our students' work. There was a narrative about the hottest chili ever that made it all the way around the table. It was well written and very entertaining. It was pretty good, and again, that's going to culminate with celebrating the success. I have one student's going to be honored in the Writers Guild tomorrow in the assembly.
And our last goal for our school improvement plan is achievement for students with IEPs. We're looking to bring their achievement up on state assessments, and we're doing this through our instructional data team meetings largely, but they're incorporated all with the math fact fluency goal that we have for our whole school, and our level 5 students are taking part in the math club that's run by Mrs. Ryan in 5th grade. She's volunteered to take that on to bring those kids up. And really all kids, not necessarily students with IEPs, but they're also involved with that. Really, a huge part of what we're doing this year, and it's another change for us, another new process that we're undertaking, is the instructional data teams. And what we do is we review the progress of students at each grade level, identify the students who need the help, figure out how we're going to help them with interventions and strategies, and then set goals, short-term goals, about 3-4 weeks, something like that, and then we're going to come back and assess how those kids are doing. And as Mr. Schmentel mentioned, another use of our instructional data teams is looking at student work, and that's where we're going to do our scoring, discussing, sharing, and talking about what works.
Okay, a typical day in a data team afternoon. We had our first meeting on the 14th of October, and we're looking at results from an Ames Web benchmark assessment that was administered in September, and that's it's an assessment that measures reading comprehension and reading fluency, and we chose to focus on the reading comprehension part based on a maze test, which is basically passages with sentences that every seventh word is substituted with a parentheses with 3 different words they could choose from. So their reading comprehension skills, which is what would enable them to choose the right word. And as a result of that analysis of that data on the 14th, we identified 15 students that we felt were in need of some form of intervention, and we came up with 3 interventions and strategies that involved reading comprehension improvement. After September's assessment, approximately 3 weeks later, we did another progress monitoring, and if you can see, the blue is the September results, and then the yellow is the November results, and their intervention was very successful for most students. There are some that were kind of the same, stayed the same, and one that went down. So we identified 6 students that did progress on the trajectory that we'd like to see. So for those students, we came up with 2 new interventions. One's a click and clunk strategy, which is basically a self-monitoring comprehension strategy, and then a reading fluency intervention, which we chose to go with paired reading, where you have a strong reader read with one of our 6 students, and they choral read out loud to help their fluency.
So that was just an example of the instructional data teams and how that progresses and what we've been seeing so far this year. And I just wanted to say before I conclude that the staff has done a phenomenal job. And all this has been kind of new, the school improvement plan, setting goals, instructional data teams, it's all been new, but they've all really done a fantastic job. I think we're all excited about the plan.
Okay, moving on to discussion of the ABPR.
Yes. Over the last few months, from August up until this evening, we've updated you each month regarding APPR. This is with our Teachers Association looking at putting together a plan that is negotiated with the HTA. It conforms to the new law, new legislation that's out regarding the annual professional performance review for teachers. There was a committee of 6 individuals from the HTA, 6 individuals from the district that met. Greg Davis was the district facilitator and leader. Ed Gomers was with the HTA in terms of facilitator, and they worked through a process that we now have come to a conclusion on. And I'm going to ask Greg to present this to you, and we'll look for the board to adopt this after a review and question. So Greg, if you would, please.
I have to say the committee took on this task, and Peg's standing back by the door, and she was great to work with. We were friends for years. So it was a good team, but it was a team that knew it was a huge task to be undertaken. We began in July and met all day for 4 days and asked the same question that Paul asked his dad: what are we doing well and how can we use that? And we looked at our HEMIO documents, which is the APPR we've had in the past, and our process for the mentor review panel, which was also very successful. The new law requires, it's basically a 100-point scale. If you look at the bottom first page, 20% is based on student growth on state assessments. The assessment the students took last year in ELA and math will be compared to the one they take this year, and they will determine how much growth each of those students made in a year, either a year, more or less. That will then be aggregated to the classroom level, and the state will assign a score to the teacher of record in both ELA and math. It's a big unknown for us right now. which was something we kept in the back of our mind through the entire process. If you flip the page, another 20% is based on locally selected assessments. We had two choices with that, to look at student growth, which would have meant we would have needed a standardized test in order to measure student growth, or we could look at student achievement. We felt that looking at student achievement with our current assessment system would be a better way to go. It fit in with the whole data team and school improvement idea, and gave teachers some control over the instruction and improvement of their students. The other 60% is based on other measures of teacher effectiveness, which is a lot to do with classroom observation. I could take you through the entire narrative of this, but being a visual person myself, if you flip to Appendix D, which is about halfway back, it's an APPR outline. It looks like this. It's after all of those rubrics. And our system we had in place was already based on Charlotte Danielson's Enhancing Professional Practice rubrics, which is one of the state-approved rubrics for teaching, as well as the 7 teaching standards. We decided to keep that plan and expand upon it. We felt that the 60 points was where we could really impact a lot of instruction, get principals into classrooms, see what's going on. So we decided to make basically 3 observations, 2 walkthroughs of about 15 to 20 minutes, which followed a checklist with some comments based on for the domains for Charlotte Danielson, which is planning and preparation, classroom environment, and instruction. And then there's key indicators underneath those. And then sandwiched between those two was an extended classroom observation of a full class period, 40 minutes or so, which would be focused on each of those domains. 10 points for each domain, and then 5 points for a post-conference where the teacher and the administrator reflect on the lesson. The state limits teacher self-reflection and professional growth to 5 points. It was a little bit of frustration for us because we felt that professional growth and reflection should have been worth more than that, right? Right, Peg? Thanks. But we try to work within those parameters. So the extended classroom observation involves pre-conference, a prepared lesson plan that the teacher goes over with the administrator prior to the observation. Then they go through the observation. The administrator, evaluator, lead evaluator will gather evidence during the process of that observation. And then write up an observation form on what they observed. They will then meet, the teacher will do the same thing and reflect on theirs, and have a conference afterwards of what was good, what maybe could be better, what could be working towards. The whole goal is to improve instruction, meeting the needs of students, and so forth. After we've done those 2 walkthroughs and the extended classroom observation, the teacher would also fill out basically an evaluation of themselves and look at strengths, areas that maybe they could develop, and develop some professional growth targets. And the principal would also write a narrative summary of the whole year, which would include the 4th domain, which is professional responsibilities. And that would make up the whole 60 points. We see this document as a fluid document. We're implementing it this year based on what we know about the law. And there was a lawsuit from NYSET that was questioning the local assessment piece and so forth. But the main components of the APPR remain intact. But we wanted to have the evaluator and the teacher talking what are we seeing, what evidence are we seeing in the classroom, and how can we make it better? That was really the goal of the entire committee. We met and came out with basically the center of the document in July, which was really a major accomplishment in that week, and we were actually ahead of every other district I've heard about. We came back in August and got together after the BOCES folks went to Albany and got some more information. We then came back together again in October and came to consensus on almost everything except the appeals process. There's also another version of the Charles Danielson rubrics that has come out since her original, which is much more extensive and has many more key indicators and also cites evidence of what an observer could be looking for in a classroom as they're doing this. Put that together, the Article 7 committee, which is, Article 7 is part of the teacher contract that deals with evaluation, to look at those rubrics and make a recommendation as to whether we keep what we've been using or look more towards using the extended rubrics, which are much more specific. If you look on page 7, at the end of this process, and the state requires this for any district that is in open, whose contract has expired, has to be negotiating an APPR. And since our contract has expired, not that we didn't want to go ahead and do that anyway. And it's required for teachers in grades 4 through 8, ELA and math. We felt that, and then next year, it goes to everybody, every teacher. We felt that it would be very difficult for the high school to make the leap from doing no observations under this process to the entire staff in 12-13. So we, as a committee, decided to expand that to the high school math department, grades 9 through 12, because they have, many of those courses have a state exam associated with them at the end. And they were actually on the year to be observed anyway under Hemio, so it was a natural move towards that. The only thing that we won't have for that department is the state won't be assigning a score out of those 20 points next year. So the whole, what we call the HEADY designation, which is highly effective, developing, and ineffective. We started calling it the HEIDI designation and decided that was way too positive, so we changed it to HEADY. And the state, once they get those points, and it gives you the breakdown in the middle of this page, highly effective is 91 to 100, effective is 75 to 90, developing is 65 to 74, and ineffective is 0 to 64, which is pretty much the same as the Regents exams. But the unknown piece we had with this, we don't know how the state's going to decide how many points of those 20 you're going to get. How many of your kids have to get this score in order to get all 20 points, and will anybody achieve that? We know that with the 3 through 8 testing, if the students lose 3 points on their test, they're already out of being distinguished. So it's a very small window. So we tried to build in a process that was more reflective and gave teachers some control over the local assessment data. So what we did was, with our local assessment data, we collect that on a quarterly basis through my office, and we generate reports from that. The teachers of record for ELA and math, and that's anyone who teaches ELA and math in grades 4 through 8, and any special ed teacher that's in either ELA or math for more than 50% of the class. We did address defining that. As a matter of fact, Cindy was assigning teachers of record in e-school today. So what they will do is take the data from our local assessments, sit down with the principal and look at that data, see how the kids are doing, either as a grade level, as a classroom, or even looking at individual students. And it looks back to appendix. I think I would have it. The teacher will have a reflective thing. They'll look at the data, identify the gaps, appendix B. And if you ever served on CDEP, you'll recognize it's a very similar document. To look at where the gaps are, where the strengths are, what are the root causes, which is easier said than done, but actually Steve has really helped all of us as administrators through our ACM, the school improvement process, to be able to do that, look at the data, and draw conclusions from that. What's the data telling us? And what are we going to do to address that? So at the end of the quarter, the principal will have the meeting with the teacher. They'll set some goals for the next quarter, and how they're going to figure out whether it was completed or not, or successful or not. They get 5 points for each quarter. They have that data review at each quarter, so by the end of the year, they get 20 points. We decided at this point in the process, with the unknown of the state score, that our students would benefit more from us looking at how they're doing and how can we help them from here than deciding whether you got 3 points, 4 points, or 5 points. The walkthroughs, which was a difficult process. So that took care of the 20 points. The 20 points from the states, an unknown. The extended response or extended observation is very similar to what we've done in the past with PEMIO, with the reflection documents at the end and having a conference, which we believe is the key to improving, is to look at what am I doing and how can I do it better. So the walkthroughs, we had a lot of discussion on the walkthroughs. We made them 5 points each. We finally decided that we would have the observation, have the conference afterwards, reflect on the observation and decide 3 points, 4 points, or 5 points. We eliminated 1 and 2 points. Because we felt that was very difficult. And if the teacher and the administrator don't agree on that, they each can bring their evidence. And we're encouraging teachers as they go through this year to have a little manila folder to slide parent contacts, assessments, phone logs, all of those things, a little folder to keep their evidence. And then they have a discussion together. And if they don't agree, the teacher can present evidence to say, well, you thought it was a 3, I think it's a 4. And together they come to consensus on the data score, whether it's a 3, 4, or 5. However, we did add one piece to that. We felt that planning and preparation was essential for delivering a good lesson. And the expectation is that we have lesson plans. So the evaluator will ask for a lesson plan. And the teacher will have to be able, I don't want to say have to, but the teacher would articulate the objectives of the lesson, how the learning is going to be assessed, and what's the overall goal of the lesson. We're not requiring an official written out lesson plan because the walkthroughs are unannounced at this point. But if they aren't able to articulate what the purpose of the lesson was and what the outcome should be, that would receive a score of 0. And
so we eliminated 1 and 2, but you left 0, 3, 4, 5.
yes. Which was, and I have to say, both sides really went back. It was a phenomenal committee. We came together the first 10 minutes and said, this is a monumental task. We have to be able to speak our minds, be honest, and not have anybody's feelings get hurt. We don't have time to worry about that. And we did. It was great. And we did come to consensus, and it took some time, especially that last piece. And we think for the 11-12 school year, this is a good plan. We think it's a document that we need to keep reviewing. from a growth model, which takes, if the student scores 650 this year and on ELA, and he scores 650 next year on ELA, they've made 1 year's growth. In 2012-13, the state's supposed to add in student attendance, and right now they're just looking at ESL and students with disabilities. Next year they're going to add in time in class, teacher-student contact time. So if a student were beginning the process of taking period by period attendance at the elementary level. So if a student's out every 3 weeks for a music lesson or AIS or something else, that gets figured into the mix. When the state adopts that, and it's an incredible formula that's beyond my math capabilities, I have to admit. To factor all of those things in to make it more fair for the teachers. At that point, it goes to 25 points for state assessments and 15 points for local assessments. It's very interesting, but
Let me just give a couple more points. Based on the way this was legislated and the regulations that came out after that, there really is kind of a narrow application that the district has choice of. And so when you look at the rubric that determines how you go through the evaluation process, the state has, what, four approved models at this point. And so one of the things that we did and that the committee did was utilize our current process, because we have the Charlotte Danielson model in place, so we're utilizing the current process and we're moving ahead with that. We'll look at the Article 7 committee to perhaps look at the new vocabulary in terms of the feedback provided to the teachers and what the observation language would be like. The training component is significant. Our administrators will go through significant training in terms of observation of teachers. Number one, what to look for, how to document that, and then how to, again, have that reflective conference with teachers that will be